Dear Christians, do you ever feel like your prayers are just hitting the ceiling, like you're saying the same things over and over, and you're not sure if God is even listening? Hey, you're not alone. So many of us crave a deep, powerful prayer life, a real connection with God, but we just get stuck in a rut. Our prayers can feel more like a monologue than a life-changing dialogue. We end up just talking at God instead of talking to God. But what if the secret to a powerful conversation with God was hiding in plain sight, in the way that Jesus himself prayed? In this video, we're going to look at the specific, often overlooked prayer habits of Jesus. These aren't complicated theories. They are simple, powerful secrets that can turn your monologue into a dynamic, life-changing dialogue with the Father. Secret number one, the power of the secret place. The first secret we see in Jesus' life is that solitude is an absolute must. The Gospels are crystal clear. Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray. Mark 1 verse 35 tells us, "And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place and there prayed." Then Luke 5 verse 16 says, "And he withdrew himself into the wilderness and prayed." This wasn't a one-time thing. It was a core habit of his life. Think about it. When you have the most important, intimate conversations in your life, do you have them in the middle of a loud, crowded party? Of course not. You find a quiet corner where you can focus and truly connect. Prayer is that intimate conversation with God. Even though Jesus was constantly surrounded by crowds and demands, he knew he had to get away to truly connect with the Father. This practice of solitude isn't about escaping your life. It's about grounding your life. In the quiet, away from the noise and the notification, you can finally hear. For Jesus, this time of solitary prayer was the source of his compassion, his wisdom, and his power. It's where he recharged, where he got his direction, and where he found strength for the ministry ahead. So, what's the practical step for us? You need to find your own solitary place. It doesn't have to be a mountainside. It could be a closet, a corner of the basement, your car before you walk into work, or a chair in the living room before anyone else is up. The location isn't as important as the intention. The goal is a distraction-free zone where you can be alone with God. Schedule it, defend that time. Jesus showed us that to speak powerfully to God, we first need to be in a place where we can listen. Secret number two, the priority of prayer. And that brings us to the second secret. For Jesus, prayer wasn't just an activity. It was a priority. It was more important than sleep, more important than food, and more important than the urgent demands of the crowds. We already saw he got up a great while before day to pray. But it goes even deeper. Before making one of the most important decisions of his entire ministry, choosing the 12 apostles, what did he do? Luke 6 verses 12 to 13 says, "And it came to pass in those days that he went out into a mountain to pray, and continued all night in prayer to God. And when it was day, he called unto him his disciples, and of them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles." An entire night. For Jesus, major decisions require major prayer. His ministry didn't run on his own talent. It ran on the power he received from his Father. This is a huge challenge for us, isn't it? How often do we make life-altering decisions about our careers, relationships, or finances without spending any real time in prayer? We might shoot up a quick "God help me," But Jesus modeled something entirely different. He showed us that prayer is the work. It's the strategy session before the battle. This isn't about being legalistic, thinking you have to pray all night or get up at 4 a.m. to be spiritual. It's about the posture of your heart. It's about giving God the first fruits of your day, your energy, and your attention instead of just the leftovers. It's about acknowledging your complete dependence on Him. If Jesus, the Son of God, saw prayer as an absolute necessity, how much more should we? He didn't see it as a religious duty to check off a list. He saw it as His lifeline. So, take an honest look at your schedule. Where are you giving God your leftovers? Can you shift that? Maybe it's waking up 15 minutes earlier. Maybe it's swapping 20 minutes of scrolling on your phone for 20 minutes of quiet with God. Making prayer a priority isn't about adding another burden to your day. It's about connecting to the source of strength that makes everything else lighter. Secret number 3, the authenticity of prayer. The third secret is one of the most freeing of all. Jesus prayed with raw authenticity. He didn't use fancy religious language. He didn't hide his emotions. He just poured out his heart to the Father. The most powerful example is in the Garden of Gethsemane. Facing the horror of the cross, Jesus prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." That is a prayer of gut-wrenching honesty. He was in agony, and he told God exactly how he felt. He didn't pretend to be strong. He was vulnerable, and in that moment, he showed us the heart of real prayer. He fell on his face, a posture of complete desperation. But his prayer didn't end with his pain. It ended in surrender. Yet not as I will, but as you will. This teaches us that prayer is a safe space for our deepest fears, our biggest struggles, and our messiest emotions. God isn't looking for polished speeches. He's a Father who wants to hear the you. It's okay to tell God you're angry, scared, or confused. It's okay to say, "I don't know if I can handle this." Honesty in prayer is the fast track to intimacy with God. Too often, we filter our prayers, right? We think we have to present a cleaned up, put together version of ourselves to God, but He already knows your heart. He's just waiting for you to be real about it. This is how a monologue becomes a dialogue, when you stop performing and start connecting. So here's the practical step. Stop filtering. The next time you pray, bring your unfiltered self to God. Voice your actual fears. Name your specific frustrations. Acknowledge your doubts. Then follow Jesus' model. Lay it all out there, and then finish with a posture of trust. But God, I trust your will more than my own feelings. That's the turning point from a prayer of anxiety to a prayer of power. Before we get to our fourth secret, brothers and sisters, the actual blueprint Jesus gave us for how to pray, I'd love to hear from you. What's the single biggest struggle you face in your prayer life? Is it finding the time, knowing what to say? Let me know in the comments below. I read them and I really want to know what you're thinking. Secret number 4, the pattern for prayer. When the disciples saw the incredible intimacy of Jesus' prayer life, they didn't ask, "Teach us to do miracles." They asked, "Lord, teach us to pray." His response is what we now call the Lord's Prayer, found in Matthew 6 verses 9 to 13. This wasn't just meant to be a script we recite from memory, but a model, a divine framework for our own talks with God. It's a pattern that shifts us from self-centered requests to God-centered connection. Let's break it down. First, it starts with worship. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Before asking for a single thing, Jesus focuses on the character and holiness of God. This instantly puts everything into perspective. It reminds us who we're talking to, not a cosmic vending machine, but the holy creator of everything. When you start by praising God for who He is, your problems start to feel a lot smaller compared to His greatness. Second, it aligns with His will. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. This is a crucial step of surrender. Before we present our agenda to God, we submit to Him. We're basically saying, God, what's on your heart? I want what I want to line up with what you want. Third, it asks for provision. Give us this day our daily bread. This is a simple, humble admission that we depend on Him for everything, not just for next year, but for today. It keeps us in a rhythm of daily reliance on Him. Fourth, it deals with sin. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Prayer is a place for a clean heart. It's about confession before God and releasing bitterness towards others. If you feel like your prayers are stuck, this is a great place to check your heart. Finally, it requests guidance and protection, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. This is a humble admission that we can't navigate life's spiritual battles on our own. We need His guidance to stay on the right path and His power to protect us. Using this model transforms prayer. It shifts you from a give me monologue to a rich conversation that includes worship, surrender, dependence, confession, and a plea for guidance. Secret number 5, the scope of prayer. This final secret is about the direction of our prayers. Jesus' prayer life wasn't just vertical between Him and the Father. It was also horizontal. He was constantly praying for other people. This is called intercessory prayer. In John 17, we get this beautiful, intimate look at Jesus praying for His disciples. He prays for their protection, their unity, and their purpose. Then He does something astounding. He broadens His prayer to include us, saying, "My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message." That's you. Before you were even born, you were in the heart and in the prayers of Jesus. And His prayers for others didn't stop with His friends. In one of the most stunning moments in the Gospels, while hanging on the cross, Jesus looks at the people mocking and murdering Him and prays, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This radically expands what our prayer lives can be. So often, our prayers get stuck in our own little world. My needs, my problems, my family. Jesus modeled a prayer life that carried the needs of others. He even commands us to pray for those who persecute us. Praying for an enemy is a radical act of love that can break the cycle of bitterness in our own hearts. Who are you praying for? Intercession moves our prayer life from being self-centered to being kingdom-centered. Here's a practical step. Start an intercession list. It can be in a notebook or on your phone. Pray for your family and friends by name, but then stretch yourself. Add your boss or a difficult coworker. Add the neighbor who gets on your nerves. Pray for your leaders. When you begin to carry others to God in prayer, you start to see them through His eyes, and your own heart begins to change. So, brothers and sisters, let's remember these 5 secrets from the prayer life of Jesus. First, find your secret place of solitude. Second, make prayer a priority. Third, be God-level authentic in your conversation. Fourth, follow the divine pattern Jesus gave us. And fifth, widen your scope to pray for others. But here's the most important thing to remember. Prayer is not a ritual. It is a relationship. It's not about finding the perfect words. It's about connecting with the heart of the Father. These secrets are your roadmap to move from a frustrating monologue to a life-giving dialogue. If this video was helpful, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss what's next. And here's my challenge for you. Don't just be a hearer of this, be a doer. Pick just one of these 5 secrets and commit to putting it into practice tomorrow morning. Start the journey. Stop just talking at God, talk to God, and start walking with Him. Your conversation awaits. Thank you for watching.